They don't want you to see this. But the truth behind Jamaica's missing impeachment law and Holness's financial dealings is finally coming to light. By the end of this video, you'll uncover what's being buried and why the system was designed to protect politicians like him.
Impeachment? We're gonna come with impeachment. I brought the impeachment bill back to Parliament with some modifications 3 years ago, and the government has done nothing with it, and we can't pass it because we are in the minority in the Parliament. They have done nothing about it, even though it was a manifesto promise from 2016 of Andrew Holness. I dusted it off and set it up a little differently so it would cover a wider range of terrible acts.
Should Jamaica have impeachment laws for politicians? Drop a yes or no in the comments below. Let's see where the people stand. I'm counting every vote. What if I told you the Prime Minister of Jamaica is fighting to block the very laws he promised to pass? And now the word impeachment is on everyone's lips. And if you watch until the end, you'll understand how Holness's silence, secret finances, and the Integrity Commission have collided into the most explosive political scandal since the Manat affair. The promise and the betrayal. The hero that was promised. Back in 2016, Andrew Holness looked the Jamaican people in the eye and promised impeachment legislation within his first 100 days in office. That's right. Holness, the reformer, the cleanup guy, the anti-corruption champion. But here we are in 2025, almost a decade later, and not only is there no impeachment law, Holness is now the one ducking accountability himself. So let me get this straight. You promise impeachment laws, then end up being the one Jamaicans want to impeach. That's not irony, that's political gymnastics. The plot thickens. Holness versus the Integrity Commission. Let's talk about the real tea. Prime Minister Holness is now locked in a legal battle with the Integrity Commission. Yes, the same body investigating him for alleged illicit enrichment. The commission says Holness funneled state contracts to close associates and potentially used a charity, the Positive Jamaica Foundation, as a political front. He's since gone to court to challenge the report. Suspicious? You decide. But here's the kicker. The same Integrity Commission that's being muzzled by a gag clause, Holness won't repeal. Jamaica, we have a problem. The watchdog has no teeth, and the person in charge of the leash is the same one being investigated. What do you think is the real reason Holness is fighting the Integrity Commission? Comment your theories below. No holding back. They come back. Mark Golding's political counterstrike. Enter Mark Golding, the calm, calculated opposition leader who smells blood in the water. Golding is flipping the script. He's not just calling for impeachment, he's promising to rip the gag clause out of the Integrity Commission Act and finally bring consequences to politicians playing fast and loose with power. And what does this mean for elections? Golding says this scandal could cost Holness the next one. Be honest. Who do you trust more right now? Mark Golding or Andrew Holness? Type Golding or Holness and explain why in the comments below. Explosive point. Constitutional chaos. But not everyone agrees. Constitutional attorney Shane Dalling says impeachment won't work in Jamaica's tribal politics. Too partisan, he claims. So we're stuck in a loop. Politicians promise laws, politicians break laws, politicians block laws that would hold them accountable, and the public just vibes. But what if new evidence leaks before the next general election? And what if more names are named? What if the IC challenges the PM in international court? If this happened in the US or UK, would the PM already be impeached? Let's compare systems. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Here's a summary of the highlights and the key points. Holness promised impeachment law in 100 days. Never delivered. He's now fighting the Integrity Commission in court. The IC report raises serious questions about illicit enrichment and misuse of charity funds. Mark Golding says a future PNP government will implement impeachment legislation. The JLP's refusal may damage their election prospects and trigger a political shake-up. So the big question is, do you trust a man who promised laws and only run from them when his name got called? Let me know in the comments below. If you believe Jamaica deserves better, share this video, leave a comment with the hashtag #AccountabilityNow, and tell us, should impeachment laws finally be passed? Subscribe for more political breakdowns, raw, unfiltered, and made for Jamaicans worldwide. Constitutional attorney says impeaching parliamentarians is not the best solution. So, make we hear where she and Darling officer, because for some reason him always support things that would be in the favor of the Prime Minister, and that's just been my assessment and my observation. But make we hear what I say.
The trial of a person through an impeachment process is of a different standard than we'd want to hold the parliamentarians, because you're almost setting that as a criminal standard. We're talking about accountability standard, where, yes, included recall of your member of parliament to the citizenry. 2, suspending members from parliament for certain activities or being involved in certain activities, excluding persons from coming into the parliament having been charged, convicted, or having certain other adverse traits from entering the parliament, from running on a political ticket to enter the parliament. Those first and foremost are easy to establish. I take the impeachment provision off the table and focus on matters that you can fix.
PNP's Fitzjackson, MP for South St. Catherine, calls for implementation of impeachment legislation. Says consultations are needed to develop legislation aimed at holding parliamentarians and public officials accountable for moral or criminal behavior. So, make we hear what Fitzjackson have to say. Let's listen up.
My own experience in the parliament has taught me good ideas can be made better through a process of engagement, right? And if we are sincere and committed to make us parliamentarians, other elected persons of the public, more and more accountable to the people who elect us and who we serve, we ought to sit down and carve that out. If we are committed to ensuring we have a process of greater transparency and greater accountability, and to hold us, elected persons, to the fire for our deeds in office, let us all sit down and make and carve out the legislation.
So, Darrell Vaz, in his weak and feeble attempt to try to convince Jamaica, say, oh, there's nothing to see here, the Prime Minister did nothing wrong, you see me? And everybody we are talking about him and the Integrity Commission entanglement is just bad mind, because when I watch the Prime Minister money and when I target him from 2016 with him big house, yes, because the Integrity Commission report specifically that 171-page report and the Craig Beresford 108-page affidavit revealed a lot, Darrell Vaz. So yes, we expect Sayago come to battle for your Prime Minister and defend him tooth and nail, but you sound weak, you're not even sound assertive, you're not even sound confident, you sound shaky in your voice. And who you try to convince? Yourself, your party, or Jamaica? Because we not convince. So I don't know who you try to convince. Too much doubt in your voice, Daryl Vaz. And everybody where I go listen to this clip, I go hear the doubt when in your voice. So I go listen to what Daryl Vaz have to say.
We now stop bun the bad mind them. So I said to you, don't get distracted when you see them have headline in a newspaper about our party leader, because it's the same playbook in 2016 when them bad mind him over him house. Now them are bad mind him over little money. They are wicked and evil, and we're going to deal with them come election whenever that day is announced.
PNP President Mark Golding says a future PNP government will bring forward legislation to impeach parliamentarians and public officials. So make we hear where Marky G have to say, because right now if the impeachment law was in effect, would I have to impeach Prime Minister Andrew Holness? No joke or doubt about that.
We are going to modify the gag clause, which now exists, where persons under investigation, you can't know about it until the final report reaches Parliament. So right now in this coming election, there are going to be a number of candidates who are under investigation for corruption offenses and nobody don't know who they are. That cannot be right. We are going to change that when we form government. It has now come out that the Prime Minister has even more legal problems. From the report reached Parliament last year, September I think it was, I said publicly the Prime Minister should take away himself. You cannot be running the country and be in charge of government with a cloud of this nature hanging over your head.
My expert political commentary. Let's be clear, what we are witnessing isn't just political back and forth. This is a full-blown constitutional crisis in slow motion. Andrew Holness isn't just in a legal battle with the Integrity Commission. He's fighting to rewrite the narrative before the next election writes him out of it. Now, remember, this is the same Prime Minister who, back in 2016, promised Jamaicans impeachment legislation within 100 days. Fast forward almost a decade later, not only is the law still missing, but the man who pledged it is now the subject of an investigation for illicit enrichment. The irony is thicker than the potholes in Halfway Tree. Mark Golding knows exactly what he's doing. This is not just a legal position. This is a political chess move. By announcing that a future PNP government will push through impeachment laws and dismantle the Integrity Commission gag clause, he's framing himself as the reformer Holness pretended to be. The deeper issue here isn't just corruption. Jamaica's problem is institutional cowardice. Every time the political class gets uncomfortable, they either blame the Constitution, silence the watchdogs, or delay the laws that would hold them accountable. And let's not pretend this won't impact the next general election. Between the IC's 171-page report, the court challenges the refusal to repeal the gag clause and now calls for impeachment, Holness and the JLP are entering campaign season with more legal baggage than a first-time traveler at Norman Manley. Shane Dalling might argue that impeachment laws won't work because of our tribal political culture. But that's exactly why they are necessary. Without laws that scare both parties, we are stuck in a cycle of scandal, denial, and selective outrage. At this point, the real question isn't whether Holness will survive politically. It's whether Jamaica can survive another election where accountability is a punchline instead of policy. The Prime Minister's greatest political threat isn't Mark Golding, it's his own broken promises and the growing number of Jamaicans who've decided they are no longer buying the prosperity gospel. Was Holness just sloppy? Or is this part of a bigger cover-up? Let's investigate together. Drop your best receipts in the comments.